Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with the Browns here. We've got the pregame show, Browns versus the Kansas City Chiefs out there in Arrowhead Stadium in a few hours. And we are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, and we are happy to have you on board as we prep you for the big game this afternoon. We've got Steve Gill up there all the way. He's over there in Pennsylvania. And we got Joel Cade.
I'm still in Dayton, Ohio.
You're still down there in Dayton, Ohio. We're live right now, folks. And if you're this mystery guy who's talking to you right now, yes, I am without the glasses. It is still Johnny Cleveland. So don't disappoint me. We're in my new brownie gear, my big elf here. So
that's a nice elf.
I know, isn't that he's super big, So anyway,
that's cool.
We got Nick Chubb back there. So we're getting geared up, pumped up for this final preseason game. We're going to see a lot of the starters. We've got some other things that are possibly on the horizon with some of the starters potentially. Steve was dabbing and taking off his glasses too to see if you still recognize us all. See, oh, look at that. We're all doing it. We're you just follow along the leader, but I'm coming still off of my high from the Johnny Cleveland podcast I did last night, where I had some Cade York hate. I would encourage
Cade Yikes.
Yes, Cade Yikes. So go back and listen to that. All these guys contribute every week. We are producing great content for everybody, and we want you to join us here on the Fanatical Elves Network. Tune in, subscribe, follow us on Apple, on Spotify. Any of those platforms, just click follow, and you won't miss a show, and we just love having you on board. We are gaining momentum as we build into that season. Week 1 starts September 10th against Joe Schmo and the Cincinnati Bengals. And we got Steady Eddie at the helm for the Brownies. I'm calling Kevin Stefanski now Steady Eddie. So if I say Steady Eddie, I'm referring to
at least you're not calling for him to be fired.
I hate Stefanski. No. Okay. So let's just start here. Steve, I know you had some news you were hearing this morning about some of the starters potentially, Browns organization putting out some things. What have you heard?
Well, the reporters have all said all week that Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and Joel Bitonio wouldn't start, but then the official Twitter page of the Cleveland Browns posted, the locker room picture with the jerseys and the shoulder pads sitting on a table, and it was Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett, and said the long-awaited premiere of this duo. So is Myles going to play today? That would be great if he is. I don't know if he's just suiting up or
at some point you got to get him on the field.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, it'd be terrible just to, go into week 1 and having never had all these guys on the field.
Exactly.
Let's get them all on the field. People get hurt in football. They're not going to you can take them out after a series, but putting people in bubble wrap for the early part of the season is ridiculous. Just let's get them out there.
Especially with a new defense.
Yeah. You got to get it all together, get them clicking. Then the first 2 weeks we'll hear, well, we haven't played together, so we got to figure it all out. That's what the preseason's for. Go out and play together.
Yep.
Are you thinking this whole, every time you hear these defenders, Myles Garrett to every one of them, they're all talking about this freedom that they have been given and this new sort of way of playing defense. It's like none of these guys have ever had this amount of freedom since they were ever playing the game of football. What do you think about all that going into this season? I mean, we're probably still not going to see a ton of variety in the defense, but what are your takes there?
I'll jump in. I mean, okay. I've actually played in this kind of a defense. I mean, not to the level at a professional level, but the basics of the defense is a very free defense. You're not necessarily given an assignment. You line up, you read your keys, you run to the football, make a tackle. It's very, very simple to understand, Yeah. And it being simple to understand at a basic level, not the complex level, but at a basic level, simple to understand allows you to play free, allows you to just read and react and then go. Mm-hmm. Read, react, go. That should be the 3 mantras of the defense. Read, react, go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm excited to see somebody play free within the scheme, not just I'm out there doing whatever I want, but just free within the scheme. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think?
See football, find football, tackle football.
I can't see you, Steve. I'm going to put my glasses back on.
I'm still here. Believe me.
Okay.
This is why
You
John
know,
doesn't play
that's-
football. He doesn't see.
Yeah, he doesn't see. That's
They're
why
still
I never
fogged
played
up,
football.
man. I'm just all heated over here back in Ohio. So
It's that big
Okay.
sweater.
I played soccer. I didn't play football. But anyway, yeah,
Can't see anything.
Miles
Okay, we're
Garrett
gonna take
needs
it back
reps in this D. He needs to. Oh, there goes about 20 Merganser ducks behind me.
Oh wow, I saw that.
They're heading upstream. But anyway, yeah, and he gets to play next to Zadarius Smith, Devin Tomlinson. Yeah, he needs some reps. I love this if he's going to play. As for the defense, Schwartz hasn't shown much, but he has shown that he can apply a little pressure here and there, and he can do what he loves to do, those secondary blitzes every once in a while, which I love. I absolutely love. This defense is going to be, 2 safeties in 2 games.
Yeah.
Like I said before, do you even remember the last time the Browns had a safety in a regular season game?
Well, part of that is predicated by the offense not being able to score touchdowns. So we'd rather not have the
putting him
safeties.
deep.
We'd rather have the touchdown at that point.
Oh,
Right.
Me too. But
I want to jump on this again. I think that getting these starters out there against Kansas City in a pre-game tune-up kind of thing, right? Why would we let Patrick Mahomes come on the field, run it down the field against the second-string defense, and then that's the end of his day? Here's a good chance to go out, get a test, see where your defense is really at, get them all out there, play against Patrick Mahomes. The whole offense is going to be out there for them. So let's go get it on for a quarter or 2.
I love it.
I love it. I love it.
Let's do it. Let's see what we got. I mean, you're going against the Super Bowl champs. You might as well.
Yeah, we had the Super Bowl runner-up last week and the Super Bowl champs this week. We got the easy preseason schedule. I don't know how we're supposed to go on a 24-game winning streak with this. Actually, I have an idea. We could play a Pro Bowl quarterback in the 3rd quarter and 4th quarter against 3rd-teamers, just like the Ravens did.
Yeah, their offense doesn't look too poised at this point.
Elliot, I've been saying for the whole offseason that the Ravens are just like a dumpster fire waiting to happen. They're going to come out the first week against their warm-up game against the Texans because they're going to kill that team, right?
Yeah.
But then it's going to get real for them.
Well, even you go back to the 2020 season. I talked about it last night on my Johnny Cleveland show, and reflecting on that first game of Steady Eddie's career with the Brownies. The Browns came out flat. They played the Baltimore Ravens. They got crushed. We all talked about. We were all nervous. I was pissed after the game. A lot of people were angry, and the Browns turned it around and had a great season. So we're building. We'll see what happens in week 1, but the Ravens are an interesting bunch, aren't they?
That offense is not going to do. We can get on this, but let's get back on the Browns. I mean,
hey Joel,
Joel,
I have a question for you. Do you have anything else you want to share today?
Yeah. So, John, are you a fan of an NFL team?
I am.
Me too.
Would you love to attend your favorite team's week 1 game?
I could.
Well, you're in luck.
Wow.
Fans First Sports Network is going to give away 4 free tickets to week 1 NFL game of your choice, up to $5,000.
What?
And the rules to enter are simple. Go to contest.fansfirstsports.com, which I have a feeling we can put in our link.
Yes,
we can link into our situation here.
There goes Steve.
And fill out the appropriate information. Again, that's contest.fansfirstsports.com. Fill out the information. That's it. Once you've done that, you've been officially registered to win 4 free tickets to any week 1 NFL game. What are you waiting for? Clearly,
I don't know. Steve's already
are not waiting.
Done it. No, I know. He's on it.
Go enter for your shot.
Fans first.
Go enter for your shot for seeing your favorite team in action. Contest ends September 4th, so get out there.
Fans First Sports Network is the group that is running our network, and they've done a tremendous job of transitioning. They used to be part of the SB Nation, Fox Sports, and they've transitioned. A lot of those guys now have come together from our hated Pittsburgh Steelers affiliate, San Francisco 49ers, a variety of teams across the league. They have baseball, Major League Baseball teams. Like the New York Mets, most of the teams are covered, and so we are glad here to be part of that with the Fanatical Elves Network. And what a great gift and contest! So yeah, go to the Fans First Sports Network. Go to their website, and you can reach us. You can read some of the great content. Yours truly here, and a few of us others are starting to write a few articles for the site ourselves for the Fanatical Elves, part of Fans First, and you can catch all those articles. I think Rod Bloom, who does the Browns Blitz, he just wrote an article yesterday that we posted on Fans First. So tune into that too, and that website is growing by leaps and bounds, and so you can catch us not only with the podcasting but all the writing that we're doing. So thank you for and thanks Joel for sharing that.
I figured you were a sports fan and you were interested. So
I think we're all fans of a NFL football team.
So the team this afternoon, they play at 1:00 again. It's on NFL Network. They came out with a list of inactives, and Jerome Ford, the running back, again, the hamstring pull. Marquise Goodwin, who's dealing with the blood clots. Drew Ford, the guard. Harrison Bryant, still a medical condition, is listed. Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas. Unlikely. They're mentioned Wes Martin, concussion, and our favorite third-round draft pick of the Auburn Tigers, formerly Anthony Schwartz. Doesn't look like he'll be suiting up as he departs probably Cleveland for good after the game today.
You know, I actually liked him. I actually liked him coming out of Auburn. I thought, wow, if they could get him the ball in short areas and he could run, but then watched him play and realized like he's a track star and not a football player, and the Raiders used to do this all the time. And then like he gets hit, he gets a concussion and fumbles. Concussion and fumble when he gets hit.
Well, let's talk about this wide receiver thing, because I've been reading different comments this morning again about Hakeem Grant and then Austin Watkins.
He's playing today.
And so I want to know, like, I want the Browns to sign Austin Watkins, but I've also we talked about this on Thursday, Steve, about on the Fanatical Elves show, that Austin Watkins is 25 years old. He went undrafted, was signed as a free agent, played the training camp with the San Francisco 49ers, had a brief stint with, I think, the Buccaneers for a week, went to the Canadian, played for Saskatchewan for a day, and then ended up in the USFL. So I can't nobody should overlook the fact that he caught 7 passes for 139 yards last week, and he has 16 passes for 250 yards on this preseason. I think he's earned that spot, but the comments from some folks are still saying Hakeem Grant should probably get that final spot. What are you guys' thoughts on all that?
Have we seen Hakeem Grant play?
Yeah.
No.
Can he play football?
Today.
Can he play football? That's what I want to know.
Well, he was a Pro Bowl returner, so
okay, but like really, like,
and he's supposed to return kicks today, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. He'll probably kick it into the end zone. He'll like let it go, do one of these things, and
and punt returns. So
okay,
yeah, I think they both can make the roster.
Yeah.
Sometime before the game, maybe during halftime, I'm going to put out on my Dog Pound South blog, dogpoundsouth.net, my final 53. And I have the Browns with 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, the third one yet to be signed, and 7 wide receivers. So
this kid that they picked up, the running back,
Jordan Wilkins.
Wilkins. Some have said, will he get the start today?
I think he should play more. He only played 3 carries and 1 catch last time.
But he's had some decent. If you look back at his career, some of the different games he's been part of, I can't tell you off the top of my head what those stats look like. But when I took a look a while back, he's had some decent performances at the NFL level.
He averaged 4.9 yards a carry.
Right, I noticed that.
So he's almost 5 yards a carry.
Yeah,
mostly with the Colts.
Just bring back Hunt, Kareem. Come on now, we'll just bring back Kareem, and then we'll just bring back Dearness Johnson, who I guess is on the cut list for the Jacksonville today. So
let's before we give the third spot to Wilkins, let's see what breaks loose before Tuesday.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what they're doing with Wilkins here. Is they're going to give him a start and let him play and see if he can either earn a job in Cleveland or earn a job somewhere else. I mean, I liked Dearness Johnson. I wouldn't mind seeing him back.
I loved it,
but we'll see. I'm trying to look up his 40 time because to me that's what's most important. And can he catch?
Well, I mean, you look at somebody, and I'm going back to Austin Watkins again, but here's a kid we're talking wide receiver again, but he's been in the league, around these different teams for 2 or 3, 4 seasons, and now he's potentially getting a huge break with the Browns. And I just, we'll see what happens with it'll be interesting, won't it? What are some moves or potential cuts that any of you have anticipated that could happen after this game with the Browns or any other team? For example, the Dallas Cowboys just traded for Trey Lance, right, from the 49ers as potential backup for.
I want to go on a small rant here on this one. Every year these quarterbacks come to the draft, right? And you hear like 1 or 2 of these guys that come out of nowhere. You're like, who the heck is this guy? Trey Lance, Zach Wilson.
Right.
They go real high in the draft. And you're like, why is a team that dumb? Why are they like drafting this guy? He has like no college stats. He doesn't play very well. If you look at him, you can just eyeball the situation. You're like, wow, this guy's not very good. Yeah. And they end up going like, I'm going to trade 100 picks for this guy. You get what you deserve. So now they got a fourth round pick for a guy they spent a whole bunch of capital on. Yeah. That's their own fault. That's their own fault.
Are there any other players that you guys see out there in the league that, what you're waiting for, Steve? I mean, you've mentioned like, we'll see how things break down. Or there's some players that, there's some other guys that haven't been signed yet. Like, I gave you a list the other day, players like Devontae Adams out there in Oakland, Aaron Darnold, who likes to throw helmets around but doesn't get penalized by the NFL because
it happened in practice.
Because it was practice. It was practice.
A real game.
Jake Matthews, the left tackle, still out there potentially. Could the Browns make or pull off some more move? And we also talked about this, and I want to get Joel. You weren't part of this conversation the other night, but we've talked a little bit about all this money now that the Browns have created with their latest moves with Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, David Njoku, Nick Chubb. Could the Browns surprise some people and do kind of what they did with Chubb a while back and do it again and give him an extra year or 2, not 3 or 4, but maybe a year or 2, and maybe surprise people as we lead up to the big week 1 kickoff?
So with Nick Chubb, I mean, the key here is to use him in a rational and appropriate manner. You don't want to run him like they run Derrick Henry in Tennessee, where like it's pound, 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 pound all the time. If you use him appropriately, then you could give him another contract. I don't think you want to break the bank on him because it's going to be his 3rd contract. But that all the more underscores the need for a second running back who can spell Nick Chubb. And also we have to educate fans that
wait, just Jerome Ford isn't the guy? Jerome Ford's not the guy.
Jerome Ford's hurt. Have we seen him play? Again, have we seen him play? Does he play football? I mean, I
He's got a hamstring. Nobody knows.
I liked him coming out of college.
He just doesn't seem. When I listened to him a few weeks ago, before he was injured or right before he got the hamstring thing, he's a young kid, and you can tell that. He doesn't have that swagger or confidence. Unlike let's just skip right here to Cade York, our kicker, Cade York, the overconfident. I went on my rant last night. Please listen to that, everybody, because you could just pull some kid off the streets in Berea next week and let him go out and onto the practice field and suit him up, put him in a Browns uniform, and he could kick in 2 weeks against the Cincinnati Bengals and probably do just as well. I'm just I'm sorry. Okay. I digress. I don't know.
No. Let's stay on kickers because This gets at the
Is,
heart.
now is the kicker last name Dickey? Okay, is he still out there? Is the
I
kid
don't
from
know.
Texas? Dick. Okay.
Dicker the kicker.
Dicker
I
the
don't know.
kicker.
The kicker. Okay.
I would
All
say this
right.
about kickers in general.
All
okay?
right.
They're a unique personality.
Yes.
I mean, you get on a team with a kicker, they think they are the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
And it depends on the personality of the kicker, but it can really rub you the wrong way. And you just kind of one have to understand that that's what kickers are. But two, I've watched kickers, and I'm pretty confident
You've
that
kicked.
I've kicked before, but I wasn't very good at it, so I gave it up in high school. But you can drag soccer players. Like we literally one year said,
Yes.
"Hey, we need a kicker. Let's go try out some soccer players and
Right.
have them come kick for us on Friday night or Saturday morning or whatever it is
Yes.
we were doing."
Yep.
The Haslams have an entire soccer team. Okay, go down there,
Go down to Columbus. Okay, crew.
get a soccer player or two.
Yeah.
Tell them the ball goes over the bar, not under the bar,
Right.
and let them kick it.
I'm
It's
good
the
with
same
that, man.
principle. It's the
I
same
think what really just
concept.
pisses me off, Joel and Steve, is this, and I give the kid props for standing up and talking about it. But from what I heard after that game, and then the Instagram post that supposedly somebody else did for him, he didn't do that.
I
It's
can
just
see that.
very annoying. And then his confidence about, well, I'm kicking 6 out of 6. I'm doing things in practice. I'm like, it's practice. We don't give a hoot. We don't care. You got to make them in the game. And it's
Talk
just
about practice.
we're just, I mean, this whole sort of like, oh, I'm making them in practice and I'm really confident. Great. Then go out there. Stop looking like you're scared out of your mind when you go kick the ball. The kid looks scared every time he sits back there. We're all heavily like holding our breaths. I'm going to be doing that today going, I can't look. I can't look. Sorry.
I've known a lot of kickers who can make 70-yard field goals in practice.
Yeah.
I haven't known a single one of them that can make it in a game.
Nope.
I've heard all kinds. Oh, they helicoptered me in to make field goals. Oh, great! I'm glad they flew you from a soccer game halfway across the state to this game so you can kick a field goal. Did you make the field goal? I mean, I guess that's what I want to know. Did you make it?
What was the play? The movie, The Replacements. Oh, that was a classic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime anybody mentions a kicker, I think of that guy.
Just give him a
Sitting in
cigarette.
the stands, he's got a dart in his hand and he's smoking it. And
Yeah.
I've
practice your
literally
field goals.
played on teams with kickers like that. And they walk around insulting everybody. This is why I don't like Justin Tucker, right? Justin Tucker walks around and just insults everybody.
Right.
Like, who the hell are you, dude? You kick a ball. Like, put on some pads. Let's go hit. You kick a ball. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? And he
now
at
there's-
least does it. But like,
Now, what about this kid that got cut from the Buccaneers? He has some history with
What's
the
his name?
Browns. Last name is Blankenship.
oh,
He was
I don't
cut
know.
by the Buccaneers. Okay.
Can he
I
kick
guess-
the ball through the uprights?
He doesn't have
he
a
got cut.
history with the Browns, but
He doesn't
got
have
cut.
it. I thought there was
I've
a
heard-
okay.
I've heard people mention that he would be better than Cade York, but he just got cut. He lost.
I think the Browns are doing the long play with Cade York, right? The thing with kickers in the NFL is that they
I'm so
mature
depressed.
around 27, 28, 29. That's when they come into their own. So you don't want to give up on a kid at 23.
Yeah, but
Excuse me,
we're
only
going
to have him become like Justin Tucker 3 years from
Yeah.
now.
You know what's going to happen? Week 1, we're going to play the Bengals at home. The game's going to be tight because it's the first game of the season. The crowd's going to be in a tizzy. It's going to come down to Cade York, and he's going to blow it. He's going to blow it.
Look, man.
I mean, last year we didn't know. Like, he came in, he shouldn't have been there anyway. The Browns had control of that game and blew it against Baker Mayfield last year, and the kid did but I've said since that point, it set him up for failure now. And now it's just become this. Okay, Steve.
The game that really where his confidence was shaken was the Charger game.
Yes.
He missed 2 field goals in that game. Up to that point, he was 8 for 8.
Okay, that's good.
So We got to go back and look at that Charger game. Figure
Was
out
that Charger game
what
at
happened.
home or in LA?
It was a home game. There was a lot.
Right.
I'll tell you what was bothering me in that home game against the Chargers were those midgens, those little bugs. They were everywhere. Let me tell you, I wonder if that had an effect on Cade York that game, because everybody in the stands was like everybody was in an uproar, because it was just, you couldn't. I had to walk the entire game because you couldn't sit in your stand. You couldn't sit in your seat because they were swarming everywhere. Now, I don't know what it looked like on the field, but I imagine that they were down on the field too. And those suckers, man, they were annoying. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those little midges, like
I know.
whatever they come off.
I remember the Yankees Indians playoff game.
Like,
I want to get
anyway.
back to Cade York. Then I want to stop talking about kickers, period, because they annoy the crap out of me. But I've been saying all preseason, if you're going to stick with the guy, which sounds like that's what they're going to do, they should give up on the idea of scoring touchdowns. They literally should drive the ball down to I've been saying this since the Hall of Fame game, and everybody's laughed at me. I'm going to continue saying it. Drive the ball to the side of the field, to the yard you want it to be, and then trot him out there. There should be 0 touchdowns. Everything should be a field goal. Give him 100 attempts in the preseason so he gets his head right. The other thing he's got to figure out is kicking in Cleveland is just like kicking everywhere else. I don't care what people say. There's wind everywhere. There's snow everywhere. There's ice everywhere. Kick the ball. Just kick the ball.
I mean, the history of the Browns, and Steve, you can go back and, we talked about this, historically. It is really, kicking has been a big, with all teams, but, significantly with the Browns history, you go back to even 1980, 81, the playoff game where Dan Cockcroft had the opportunity probably several times to win that, could have won the game. Coach decided to let Brian Sipe throw the pass to Ozzie, and it was intercepted, unfortunately. But I mean, even all those games, I mean, we've just lived by the field goal. I mean, Phil Dawson making that crazy kick against the Baltimore Ravens way back when.
Oh, those 2 kicks in the snow game and
the Snow Bowl game,
Buffalo.
The Buffalo game. So, kickers I want to bring Phil back. I feel like Phil could still do it. I mean, if we could call him up the day before the game on September 9th and say, dude, look, we need a kicker. And he'd come and trot out there and do it. Anyway.
I just think Cade York is in his head about Cleveland weather.
Yeah,
he's heard about it. Too. He's heard about it since day one. Very, very K Cabot out there. What do you think about kicking in Cleveland weather? Well, that's all the kids thought about. Yeah. Instead of thinking about kicking, he's thought about weather. You know what? Just focus on kicking. Focus on your approach, swinging that leg, and wherever the ball flies, the ball flies.
Do you think his next job is right? Is he going to become a meteorologist? He could go to some meteorology school.
I mean, I think Phil Dawson could be a meteorologist in Cleveland right now.
I miss Dick Goddard, by the way. Any of you Browns or Cleveland faithful, Dick Goddard, Channel 8, miss that guy. He was the. Do you know who I'm talking about, Joel? I mean, Steve, I think you do, idea. Right? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Dick Goddard, the greatest weatherman of all time. Dick was around Channel 8 forever. He had the Woolly Bear Festival there in what city was that? Willoughby, or now I'm giving. Anyway, I love Dick Goddard. Okay, back to
all right. Back to
York, Steve.
Let's stop talking about kickers.
Talking about
what else? What else are we is on the horizon here? We got the 53-man roster. Now they're down to 80 some players from what I read last, and so
they
cut down
2.
Okay,
so
and we got to get down to 53 by what day?
4 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday the 29th.
Okay, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. Maybe we have a little. We're gonna have our own shows this week. But we may do a little bit of an extra 53-man roster show once we get things finalized. Any surprises or whatnot? Joel or Steve.
I just want to see what running backs, are cut loose. I'm intrigued with the rumor that Alvin Kamara down there in Atlanta might get cut. I would love to see the Browns.
Isn't the kid in
they
trouble?
Could get him for $2.5 million. Easy.
Isn't he in some trouble on the side?
I think that came to a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that came to a resolution recently. I'm interested. Was it Alvin Kamara?
Kamara.
The Chipmunks, Elvin and the Chipmunks. You know, the Elvin and the Chipmunks. That's what I'm going to think about when I think of Alvin Kamara now. Kind of like Joe Schmo and Joe Burrow and Steady Eddie.
He got suspended for 3 games, so if you grab him,
another
he's suspended for 3 games.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the.
Hold on. You asked about surprises.
That's my friend.
I want to see what happens with Nick Harris and Luke Whippler. I'm going to be watching that one.
Yeah,
I want to see if Nick Harris comes out of this situation still on the Browns, or Luke Whippler, who's been getting a lot of reps at center and guard, if they're not grooming him to play the backup role and getting him as many reps as they can.
Why did it take 50-some years for the Cleveland Browns to recognize that they have really good football players at Ohio State, and they drafted more than one for the first time in like 50-some years, I think it is. Luke Whippler and DeJuan Jones.
Terry Robisky, they drafted him.
No, I'm saying this is the first time that the Browns have drafted two. In the same draft in I think it was like 50-some years, and
they got 2 good ones. They picked a good time to do it.
This is the team that drafted Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel in the same draft.
We're not going to talk about 2014.
I'm just saying
it's still a nightmare. I had struggled last night to sleep last night. Now I'm going to have that damn nightmare tonight thinking about that 2014 draft. Thanks, Joel.
And they did no work on him. That's the thing. The team did no work on either one. Well, they did some work on Manziel, but clearly they didn't care. He was whatever was going on.
Playbook? What's a playbook? I don't need a playbook.
They should have brought in
some homeless guy.
They should have brought in Cliff Kingsbury to be his offensive coordinator.
He's a piece of work. I mean, come on.
I remember.
Speaking of a piece of work.
Is during the draft party, they drafted Manziel, and I went, no. And then they drafted Gilbert, and I went, who?
Right.
And that was the extent of that draft party.
Have you guys, speaking of people being a piece of work, which Cliff Kingsbury is, have you guys watched any of this Untold, the Swamp Kings with the Florida Gators?
I didn't watch it because I read somewhere that don't watch it because it's stupid, but
You should watch it just to see just how much Urban Meyer, and I'm going to make a lot of people mad when I say this, but you should just watch how Urban Meyer abuses these kids. He's got these kids fighting each other in workouts, literally fighting each other, and whoever wins gets an award, and whoever loses the fight. I'm not talking about drills. I'm talking about fights. They're fighting each other. I'm like,
I never understood
that. Crazy.
I don't
crazy
understand.
Crap.
Yeah, and Steve, maybe you disagree, but I've never understood. I've never liked Urban Meyer. To be honest, I don't like Ron Day, or what's his first name? Ryan Day. I just don't. I mean, Urban Meyer. I've just always felt like a lot of these coaches that have gotten that gig, and I know the background on these coaches. I know that Urban Meyer, coached up a team out in Boise State or somewhere, and he's Utah. I get it. I understand, but he's given the keys. I mean, when you're coaching Ohio State, you get the best players anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a little bit, but I like a coach like Jim Tressel, or even Coop back in the day. I mean, he didn't get, he had lost to Michigan a few times, but anyway, I'm sorry. Urban Meyer, I just think I don't have much respect for the guy, and I'm living in Columbus. So, I
just think that there should be some rules about the way coaches are allowed to treat people. This is not, I'm going to make you all fight each other to get the best players and the most angry, aggressive, violent people I can get so I can make money. To me, that's just a real problem.
Very abusing of
the whole
system.
The
student athlete. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. I would never. We've got
let
my kids play for Urban Meyer ever.
No, and it's beyond just college football. I mean, I know personally, with my daughter playing college hoops, when she was there, and players and stories. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes on. It's a job. It's when you get to these football or basketball or baseball, any of these at college level, especially at that D1 level, and when it really is a job, and these coaches sometimes really, really abuse that. And it's awful.
It's like they own you, like they own your soul. And
they do. And let me tell you, the tragedy, and Joel, you're talking about this, and Steve, I mean, it really does. It sets these kids up I mean, the mental state after they get out of that, you're still dealing with it. And we're talking for your lifetime. And I think it's something that's completely overlooked because because college football and all these sports bring in huge dollars for these networks and corporate America. So it's just sad. Yeah.
There's one scene in that documentary I think is worth watching. It only lasts for like 5 seconds. One of the guys says, I am embarrassed for the way I acted in those 4 years at Florida. I do not want my kids to know that this is how I acted because I would not want them to act like that.
Right. Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know about the documentary right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of behavior wouldn't work in today's college football with the lengthy list of transfer portal individuals and the NIL money. You mistreat a kid and he'll go, well, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm transferring. And somebody will offer him. I mean,
Well,
I mean, on one hand,
it's like
NFL free agency.
I was proud of the fact,
basically.
Yeah, I was proud of the fact that on one hand that my daughter, she through high school and college, she stuck it out. She had an opportunity to go to different high schools. She had an opportunity to go play at different colleges, but she worked through that. So that's where part of that, like with the transfer portal, kids just get up and leave. But like we're speaking to, I mean, these coaches and whatnot, it's a mental game, and so at least, I mean, kids do have the opportunity to leave. So you can see it both ways. Yeah, I definitely.
And the advent of social media, I mean, you can't get away with that kind of crap.
No,
I mean, I didn't like Urban Meyer because he was head coach of Florida, and I'm a graduate of another SEC team, so that's why I didn't like Urban Meyer.
How do you think, Steady Eddie? Let's come back to the Browns just for a quick second. We're talking about college and stuff, but I know the pro game is very different. But you guys, I mean, as far as his coaching style, you look at other coaches around the league, Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, Steady Eddie here. Do you think with the locker room, and I mean, this is year, 4 now he's going into, what kind of style what's your perception on that for Stefanski? And do you think that is he like a Urban Meyer? Is he like a Ryan Day or a Mike Tomlin? I mean, where do you compare him to?
Well, according to the players, they love him.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's all you can go by. The whole Baker Mayfield thing boiled down to them sending in plays and Mayfield changing them, which pissed off Steady Eddie. I mean, it would piss off any coach. Yeah. So, sure, he's quiet on the sideline. He's reading from a Waffle House menu. Who cares? I mean, as long as they win, I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, he's proven to be a good coach of quarterbacks. I mean, look at his past quarterbacks. Let's see what he does with Deshaun Watson.
I agree.
All right. Speaking of the Denny's menu, we're going to see
Waffle House or Denny's. Denny's, okay.
Whatever it is.
I'm hungry, man. It's still morning, by the way. We're breakfast with the Browns pregame show this morning. Got my handy dandy coffee here. Okay, back to you, Joel.
All right, so I'm struggling to remember Andy Reid. That's it. Andy Reid will have his own big giant menu on the other side, just so all Browns fans can keep this in perspective. When you watch the game and you think, "Oh my God, Stefanski's over there, that big call sheet." Andy Reid will have one as well. So just so you know. But I get to the Stefanski thing. I mean, I liken Stefanski to be a new school coach. I mean, way back in when Moneyball hit Major League Baseball, and you had the old timers versus the new analytics guys, I think football's starting to see that. You're starting to see some of these analytics coaches, right? McVay, and I can't think of his name in Philadelphia, the guy in Miami, and you think of these guys,
a character. That
they look like they majored in economics in college and like walk around with a pencil, right? But then you got these old school coaches like I can't think of his name over in Detroit. Right?
Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell.
Yeah. Yep. That's a big burly guy, and we're gonna smash it down their throats. And then they got these young pencil neck geeks over here out thinking them 24/7. Stefanski's one of those I'm gonna outthink you kind of guy, but I think sometimes that gets lost in translation in a locker room. which is why bringing Schwartz in, who's very much an old school guy who understands the value of the new school stuff and is willing to integrate it. Like guy like Schwartz is like the future of the NFL as far as I'm concerned. But that future started in Cleveland back in like 94, 95 with Belichick, as far as I'm concerned. But you got to do some history on that one.
That's good.
So I think bringing Schwartz
you only hear that on the Fanatical Elves Network by Joel there. Good take.
But bringing Schwartz in, I think, brings in that old school element and fits it within the context of that new school analytics game. So I think
yeah, go ahead.
No, you're asking about how does that come across in the locker room. I think there's if you're not in tune with some of the violent side.
I love the move. I didn't know enough about Joe Woods, but I think Schwartz's background, style, and how he's transitioned it here already with the players has really won me over as a fan. And we haven't even started the season. Steve?
The thing with Joe Woods is he cut his teeth as a secondary coach. And then his last year's defensive coordinator, we had the worst secondary. So writing was on the wall. As for Jim Schwartz, he's old school tough, but he also uses analytics. He's the best in both worlds. In pro football.
Yeah.
You ever see if he wore any more jerseys this year? You know how he started the training camp off with that? He wore one of the guys' jerseys and he won give props to the players.
Special teamer, and he
did
curious somebody else. Taki. I think he wore Taki.
Oh, okay. One time. Yeah. Are they going to be back? Is Walker and Taki? What's their prognosis?
Taki will probably go on the PUP list.
Okay. Walker?
He'll play week 1.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to play today. It would be great to see him.
Let's talk about week 1 just real quick with Joe Schmo. Is he going to be starting for and I want to give props to Mariah, my great daughter out there in Seattle, who came up with the Joe Schmo tagline several years ago.
So we have to call him Joe Schmo now?
I've been calling him Joe Schmo for a while, yes.
All right,
so Joe Schmo, is Joe Schmo going to be week 1 the starter?
I think he will, but he won't be 100%.
Okay. I hear birds. We hear birds. We're live, folks, by the way. We're live.
Is up on the side of the hill up there.
Oh.
That's an osprey.
An osprey.
Yeah, they're the size of an eagle. They got a bigger wingspan.
You're only going to hear that and see that here on the Fanatical Elves Network as we are live from somewhere in southeast,
North Central Pennsylvania.
North Central Pennsylvania, just south of New York State.
The creek behind me is called Pine Creek.
Pine Creek.
Yeah. But anyway, I anticipate Joe Schmo playing week 1.
Okay.
I do.
I just don't think he'll be 100%, and I don't think that's going to be good for the Bengals either. Because if he can't move,
week 1 last year after having his appendix out.
That's different though from what he did this time, wasn't it? I mean, he's
got a calf injury.
You really think they're going to start Trevor Siemian?
Well, it's a week 1 game, and it doesn't like week 1 games are like weird, right? Because like you can't really get a real sense. I mean, if we win the game, that's great. We won the game against Carolina last year, but that didn't really set us up because then we failed miserably against the New York Jets in week 2.
Yeah, week 1 and week 2 is volatile, very volatile.
Right. I mean, you just look at the Browns' history the last several seasons. I mean, they started out in 2020 with Steady Eddie, and they got blown out by Baltimore. Came back and beat Cincinnati in week 2. Was that a Thursday night game? They had
4 days.
4 days.
They changed the entire offense in 4 days.
Right. We've talked about that. That was fantastic. Yeah. So that really showed everybody something about Kevin Stefanski. I'll call him that now, not Steady Eddie. I'll give him his respect. Final takes. I think we're about 45 minutes into this live show, so we got to get ready for our tailgating here across the board, and we're going to give these guys a break and a breather as they prep to watch the Browns. We're going to try to come on toward the end of the game or right after the game. These guys might be coming back. It's an open invite, guys. We'll have a little post-game rundown and what we saw and maybe a few expectations. By the way, is Notre Dame playing today?
Yes,
Yes.
Notre Dame is on week 0. They're playing in Dublin against Navy.
In Dublin against Navy.
Dublin against Navy.
Yeah.
Dublin,
What time?
not in Dublin, Ohio.
Well, that's
but
what I was. I went right
like
like Dublin.
across
wait,
the ocean.
the real Dublin.
Not Dublin, Ohio.
Yeah, not Dublin, Ohio.
Not the home of the Shamrocks.
I mean, the Dublin folks are a little bit, yuppity up out there. If you're ever, are you familiar with Dublin? I mean, you've been through Dublin.
Yeah,
I tried getting into their school district for years. They don't even look at your application. Like,
I got some
anyway.
interesting stories about Dublin, but I'll pare it down to one small one. We were at a playoff game in the locker room. They had all their equipment in the locker room. Okay,
Yeah.
This is when they had one high school, and
Yes.
they had these little stickers that said "Rocks" on it because they were the Shamrocks. They're like
Oh.
helmet stickers that said "Rocks" on it,
Uh-huh.
and like ever since then, for whatever reason, our high school, like when I was there,
Yeah.
and I was a sophomore at this time, like would call their starters the Rocks and the backups the Sub Rocks. Like, hey, Sub Rocks! It all just came out from this Dublin. We played a game in Dublin, and
Did you win?
we won the game. There's
Now
a
you
long
went. Now,
story.
I want to
but-
give you a shout out, Joe, because they talked about you. Your high school actually gave you a personal shout out on social media this week. Tell us,
really?
They did. You didn't see it?
No.
Yeah, your high school. What was your
Piqua High School. What was this
Piqua
on?
High School? I believe it was on either Facebook or Twitter.
Really? I didn't even
Piqua-
see this.
Yeah. Well, there
Very
you go.
nice.
There's some news. Piqua High School
Piqua.
football team gave you a shout out. They gave you props. Somebody that in Piqua said that on minute 27, Joe gives a shout out to us, our high school, and you have to go back and find it. I'll look
Oh,
for
okay.
you.
I think you're a little confused.
Oh, what?
So
Okay.
here's
There he
what's
goes.
going on. Here's what's going on.
I'm always confused.
Okay, that's okay. I think there's a little confusion here. So I was on social media, and I
Got it.
saw that a local group of people in Piqua
Yeah,
have put together an adult baseball team
Cool.
called the Piqua Aliens.
the Piqua
okay.
Aliens. Okay.
The Piqua Aliens. So I thought I'm going to buy this jersey.
I could
so
see
I
it
bought
on
the
the camera.
jersey, and it showed up in the middle of the podcast that Ellie and I were doing. They came to the door. So when Elliot got to about minute 27, I did an unveiling of the Piqua Aliens jersey and gave a shout out to the Piqua Aliens baseball team.
Okay.
That's what's going on. Do you want to see the jersey? I'll go get it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Let's see it.
Awesome.
Steve, did you play football back in the day?
No, I played soccer
You were a soccer player. Cool.
and ran track.
Oh yeah. What do you
very
like? Run,
fast.
what were your races? What do you like?
Well, back then it was yards, not meters.
Yards. Okay.
So it was 100-yard dash and 220 relay.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was the starter on the 220 relay
Wow.
because I was
Sweet.
very fast out of the blocks.
How fast are you today?
Depends on what's chasing me.
That's
And
excellent. Oh,
depends
look at
on
that.
oh, look at that.
Aliens. That's the base. Oh, I love it. So this is the adult.
It's an adult baseball team. They put
The
together an adult
baseball
baseball
team. The
So the
aliens.
Piqua Aliens, and I got the
Piqua
nice
aliens.
alien on the shoulder
love it.
there,
That's fantastic.
and I got number
cool.
51, so the area 51, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Wow.
So when people
I
ask
think-
where the team is, do they say they're somewhere out there?
Probably. They're in
Oh,
Piqua.
look at you.
Now you're getting me back to that playoff game. There's a story related to that from this playoff game we played against the team in Columbus. We played against Grove City, and
Oh
we
yeah.
beat them 1 year in Dublin. They were ranked like third in the nation or something, and we beat them in Dublin.
This
And then
is
the
Grove
next
City.
year,
Okay.
Grove City,
Yeah.
and then the next the Grove City Greyhounds, and then the next
Yes.
year we made the playoffs. We ended up
Yeah.
playing them in Troy, which is right here where I live now.
Yeah. Right.
And we showed up, and the joke was the people from Grove City had no idea where they were going. All they knew was they were driving to a cornfield, because. So we show up to the game, and the whole Grove City sideline is chanting, "Go back, go back, go back to your woods. Your coaches are farmers. Your team is no good."
Ah,
So this went on for probably 20 minutes,
yeah.
just
Wow.
chanting this at us. Well, that's mild
Yeah.
compared to what we had to deal with in Dublin. But we ended up ended up just for good measure beating that team by 2 touchdowns, just to reiterate,
Excellent.
because they were pretty upset from the loss the year before. So we had
What happened in Dublin? I would like to know what happened in Dublin.
All right. You got a few minutes for a story?
We always have time for.
So I grew up in Pickwood, played football in Pickwood when I was a sophomore, and we had a pretty good team. We went 9-1 that year, and we hadn't gone 10-0 in like 50 years. Of course, we solved that next year, but we made the playoffs. The reason we made the playoffs was because Columbus Worthington,
yes,
had a player that was ineligible. That actually their parents moved and went to a different district, and this was before open enrollment, and he was continuing to go to Worthington,
right,
and got all their games were wiped out because he was declared ineligible. That put us from 5th in the district to 4th, which put us into the playoffs. All right. So as a number 4 team, you're playing the number 1 team,
right,
and it's basically a home game. It's not like it is now, but it was a neutral site, but it was in Dublin. So Grove City is going to Dublin, and we are from Pickwood going to Dublin. It's not really a whatever,
Right.
So we show up, and the whole Worthington, and I don't want to bash Worthington, but this is what happened.
Right.
The whole Worthington football team was sitting on Columbus Brookhaven, or no, not Brookhaven, Grove City side. Okay.
Yes.
And we come out of the locker room, and I don't know if you've been to the stadium there.
Yes, I actually have been there.
It's pretty high, right?
Yes.
And it has this like ledge thing that comes out in the locker rooms right on the side of the door. So we come out, we are met with cans, cups, spit, candy, anything you can think of, just hailing down on us.
Wow.
As we're going into the stadium, they're screaming at us, we don't belong, all this kind of stuff.
Really?
We go out and play the game, and they had this running back that was like an all-American running back.
Yeah.
And we played this double zone, double gap defense, held this guy to like 40 yards rushing.
Nice.
Okay. Kicked a field goal, like a 40-yard field goal, which is unheard of in high school.
Oh,
we decided we're going to take a chance. We're going to kick a 40-yard field goal. Made the field goal by like that much, right?
Yeah.
I watched the game film, and you could tell it just barely went over the bar.
Yeah.
The game ended up being 3-0. We beat Grove City.
Oh,
so
wow.
Grove City was mad. They were like 3rd in the nation. Was this
the first time that you played them? And then you played them the second time and you beat them again?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they were like 3rd in the nation, and they lost 3-0. We walk off, okay?
Yeah.
So we still got the Worthington kids on us because, we not only did we not belong, we just got lucky and beat Grove City.
Right.
Okay?
Oh my
so
God.
not only are the Worthington people throwing stuff at us, so now all the Grove City fans have decided they're going to get on the act.
Oh my
because
gosh.
we've already got one group of people doing this. So we're like literally candy, like anything you could cans. Like I got hit in the head with a can, like a full can of something.
Right. Is this at Thomas Worthington Stadium?
This game was at Dublin.
Oh, the game was in Dublin.
Game was in Dublin. So
I haven't been to that stadium.
That's where we're talking about the Rocks.
Okay, right.
But that stadium was a beautiful stadium, but it was super high. It was like a
I have not been there.
Building.
No,
super high. I mean, it probably 3 stories high up to the top.
Wow.
And they're throwing this crap down on us. Wow. Popcorn. One kid got a whole thing of popcorn, and he looked up and like this got hit with popcorn.
What a shame.
Like
that's just
so. Then the next year we make the playoffs. Without because we're a good football team, we make 10-0. We got to make the playoffs. So this year we're ranked higher than Grove City. I think we were 2 and Grove City was 3.
Right.
So they're coming back.
And then you played them in Troy.
For revenge game, right?
Yeah.
So they show up. They're trying to, their fans are like already trying to intimidate us as we walk in.
Right.
And, we're just like, you know what? Mess with us. This is what you get. And
you guys had a really good high. Yeah, you were really solid back then. That was your sophomore and junior years?
Yep.
What happened your senior year?
Funny you should mention, I'm actually writing a book on that game, my final game of my senior year, but we didn't play Grove City. They didn't make the playoffs. Okay. We ended up.
You had tortured them enough.
We actually, like a few years later, we actually scheduled them in the regular season, but we actually ended up playing Troy, which is our big rival. At Welcome Stadium for the regional championship. And we ended up winning that game.
What division were you back then? What division were you?
We were Division 1. We were Division
1. Wow. Okay.
So that's how we ended up with,
Are you still Division 1?
Pick was Division 2 now.
We're in Division 2 now. I know I'm over at Licking Heights, and we're in D2. We've got like my hometown of Worcester, in that bracket this year. So
It was interesting because
I'm covering their game next week. Licking Heights is playing Bellefontaine, and the new quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Travis St. Clair. He's a junior, and he just announced that he's going to go to Ohio State. So that he's a big kid, and I'll be covering that game for Northeast Ohio Sports Insider. So I'm excited.
So that's Bellefontaine.
Bellefontaine.
Bellefontaine to the locals.
Thank you.
So I will say this about going back to my senior year. I got to say this about my senior year. We walked into our game. We played Cincinnati St. Xavier. Okay, big Catholic school.
Yep.
They had more people on their football team than we had boys in our high school.
Wow.
It was ridiculous, right? So then we were like 6 boys over the limit between Division I and Division II. And then the next year we went to Division II, and I think we've been there ever since. I'm not quite sure on that, but those are the kind of teams we played, teams that have like more people on their football team than
those Cincinnati teams, because we came Worcester in 1987, 86, 87. It was the 1986 season that we came down to Columbus. I think the game was played at Columbus Mifflin, a high school, and then we played a Catholic school from Cincinnati, and we got beat. But that was the semifinal game. That Final Four of we were in Division II at that point. So, well, cool stories, dude. The Aliens at Dublin, the Rocks. We got a lot, and we got the Browns on the horizon here. Just under an hour, or just over an hour till kickoff. Yep. Final thoughts, Steve, on the game. What are you going to be watching closely?
No injuries.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Kick coverage unit. It's always a pet peeve of mine. They've been getting progressively better every game. And of course, Cade York. We're not going to talk kickers, but I'm going to still watch. I'm definitely going to watch Bojorquez, see how he catches the ball and holds it. That's my dog back there.
Oh, we got to have a dog. This is the Browns Network part of the dog count.
I want to see Hickman. I want to see Diabete. I of course I'm going to be watching Austin Watkins. But, so just preseason game. Just keep an eye on the young kids. They don't have too many spots available, so let's see.
Just injuries. No injuries. That's right.
No injuries. And let's make it a clean game. No penalties. Let's get this over with.
Yeah. Unlike the illegal hit that the Chiefs had back 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Unlike what happened during the Philadelphia game, but it was all Philadelphia players. My God, they were carting people.
They were dropping. Right. Yeah, they were dropping like flies. Joel, final take.
I just want to see the offense roll, the defense stop people, and I'd like to see the offense literally, and we'll say this again for the 4th time, drive the ball down to a spot, let that guy go out there and kick.
Yep. And you know what's going to happen is he's not going to do it. But, I'm prepping myself for failure, not only today, but week 1 when the Browns are in a tight game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and Cade York falters because he is mentally messed up. Okay.
Wouldn't it be funny if all they did is score touchdowns and went for 2 the entire game?
That would be pure football. I would love that. Just go for it on 4th down. Go for 2-point conversions. Let's just pretend kickers don't exist.
Well, yeah. Joel?
Cade York's on the sideline smoking a cigarette.
Yes. The replacements all over again.
Love it. Lost a lot of money on you in that Ohio State disaster. That guy.
Joel, well, thank you. The Aliens from Pickaway.
So I want to be clear. The high school mascot is the Indians.
Yes.
And the Aliens are the adult league baseball team put together. I just think it's cool. I want to support my hometown, so I bought one of their jerseys.
Steve, thank you for joining us all the way from north central Pennsylvania today.
And by the way, the Osprey did get a fish.
Oh, that's good. What kind?
While we were talking, he dove in, got it, and flew up.
This is great. Folks, if you're listening to us, tune in. If you're watching us live right now, we're on Twitter or the new X, Facebook. We're on YouTube. Follow us, please. Subscribe to our podcasting. That's where we really need you to go. We need you to go to Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, any of those platforms. We are right there. If you just type in Cleveland Browns podcast, we will pop up instantly in your and choose us because we are bringing you great content. We've got these guys Steve and Joel bring great content. They're writers for various periodicals as well. They have their own blogs. We also write for Fans First Sports Network. So I think, Steve, you said you're going to be writing your blog here at the end of this game, your final 53.
I've already got it written. I am
Excellent.
so confident in
Excellent.
my final 53. It's done.
Well, we can talk about that after the post game. Hopefully the Browns have a good go at it this afternoon, and there are no injuries. Thanks again for joining us here on – yes, Joel.
Go Irish. Play like a champion today.
What time do they play?
They play at 2:30, so I'm going to double screen this thing today.
Ooh, nice.
Okay,
they're playing
if he's gonna do that, my alma mater, Vanderbilt, hosts Hawaii tonight.
Ooh.
Anchor down.
Anchor down. There you go. I went to Hope College, so the Flying Dutchman. Don't know if they're playing this week or not, but my son, just to give props to my son Alec, he's up there with my stepson Clay as well, and they both live in the Grand Rapids area. But Alec is actually works a little bit on the side there at the college for the sports programming. He does videos for their school. And he actually produced like the ESPYs video for Hope College this past spring, which is really impressive. And he's actually starting this weekend. He's doing a lot of film and coverage of their this weekend's new sporting events. So he'll have a new video and new content. So I always like to push his name out there. He does some great stuff. So thanks again, Steve. Thanks again, Joel. And we'll catch you on the other side. Go Browns this afternoon against the Chiefs at 1:00, just under an hour now, or just over an hour. They'll be playing the Chiefs out there at Arrowhead. Good luck to the Brownies. We'll talk to you in a few hours. Everybody take care. And thanks for joining us on the Fanatical Elves Network. Take care. Bye.
Go Browns.